Morning YouTube, we're at Wilmslow. Today we're joined by Gergő to come over from Budapest. It's not a London weekend, but we're going to London anyway. It's a Wednesday. So here we are in London. We are walking to King's Cross to show Gergő platform 9 3/4. This is, funnily enough, the third time in about 2 weeks that I've done this exact walk between Euston and King's Cross slash St Pancras. It's getting a little bit repetitive. It's getting a little bit repetitive. I should add, by the way, that it is bloody hot. So we are, of course, stopping off to take a look at St Pancras again, you know. And King's Cross is just behind there. Here we are again at St Pancras. Third time in 2 weeks. And just down the stairs, you get to King's Cross. Lots of Azumas on show, but we're obviously not here to see Azumas, we're here to see platform 9 3/4. So we're now heading to Pimlico to go see the Tate Britain. So we'll be taking the Victoria line. You can enter the underground here, but I remember from last weekend, going through there means going down a very long passageway to actually get to the Victoria line. And it would be quicker to go by the Pentonville Road entrance, which last time we tried to use, it was closed. I think it'll be open now, so we're going to try and go find it. King's Cross Pentonville Road entrance. Is it actually open? Yes, it is. So this was, of course, the entrance into King's Cross Thameslink. Before that, it was the original entrance to the Metropolitan line station. Both are now abandoned, but via a long passageway this also leads to the rest of King's Cross interchange, unless you're going to the Victoria line, which is just round here. At Pimlico. If you remember, we were last here in April and we came to see the Van Gogh exhibition, but this happened. And the curse strikes once again. Mum is slowly learning the lesson that it is good to book exhibitions in advance. Vincent van Gogh was sold out. And so now, here we are, we're going to try again, this time having actually booked the tickets in advance. So here we are just out of the Tate Britain, the sunglasses are out. We're now going to walk up towards Westminster. Give us a wave! This is, of course, the day Boris Johnson became Prime Minister, and so there are lots of demonstrations outside. We've not come to specifically join them today, but we'll certainly have a look at what's going on.
Coming at you, dude! Positive energy coming at you, dude.
This is the media circus where all the interviews are done. It's so much smaller in person. You look at it on the news from our living room in Manchester, and it looks so big, and then you actually show up and it's just like, oh, it's just a little field. There's men in suits walking past. You know they're important, but you don't actually know who they are. Lots of EU flags, and then just one random UAE flag. Not entirely sure why. Maybe someone saw the flags and thought it was a flag convention.
Politics is so boring.
So it is well timed. We are just here as tourists today, but we can also see everything that's going on. Today is quite an interesting day. It's Boris Day, quite literally. How did it all come to this? I went back in time just 2 months and told my past self that this time in 2 months Boris Johnson would be Prime Minister. I don't think I would believe myself, and yet here we are. And that, of course, is Downing Street. Whilst walking around Westminster, I bumped into Femi, a well-known anti-Brexit campaigner for Our Future, Our Choice, and a personal political hero of mine.
David Frankal has just learned that Chris Grayling has been sacked. David Frankal just learned that Chris Grayling has been sacked.
We are here on the Hungerford Suspension Bridge, walking across. Our destination is that, the London Eye.
You show me how to...
So we're now about to take Gergő up the London Eye. So Gergő, thoughts on the London Eye?
It's very good.
Welcome back, everybody. Mind steps and off. Make sure you got everything with you, everybody. Straight down.
Thank you very much. So we just had a very expensive dinner. In contrast, we've found a very cheap hotel, a Travelodge. It's in Romford, so it's a bit of a journey there. We've decided to take a more interesting route than the obvious route via Liverpool Street. We're going to take a Thames Clipper, see London by night, end up in North Greenwich. Then from there we're going to take the Jubilee line to Stratford, where we can catch TfL rail, not quite Crossrail, but TfL rail to Romford. So I spent many a time waiting on train platforms, at bus stops, but here we are at a boat stop. We're literally in the river. It's here. So the pier is used by various different boats, mainly cruise boats, tourist boats, but you also have the Thames Clippers, which are actual commuter boats run by TfL, which is what we're going on now. Look, they've even got their own roundel. Might be. Alright, I'll be back in a second. Sadly, I don't think the cable car runs at this time of night, which is a shame because it would be quite spectacular. Anyway, let's go find the Jubilee line. Oh, we're in luck. It's a purple train. So after failing to catch one of these last weekend, here we are now. It's called TfL Rail for now, but really, this is a Crossrail train. Just the actual Crossrail line hasn't opened yet. And very useful on a day like this. It is delightfully air conditioned. Good morning, today is Thursday. We are here in the delightful little town of Romford. Not staying for very long though, we've just woken up and we're heading straight back into London to go see an exhibition at the National Portrait Gallery, as we usually do. Also, it's due to be bloody hot today. There are some predictions that it will reach 38 degrees, which has the potential of beating the UK's all-time temperature record. And it's worst in London, which is obviously where we are, so great. It is going to be fucking hot.
This is the train to Liverpool Street. Next station, Ilford. Next station, Liverpool Street. Change for Central, Circle, Hammersmith and City, Metropolitan, London Overground lines and National Rail services.
So here we are off our train at London Liverpool Street. This is still where TfL Rail terminates, but very soon, when Crossrail opens, after Stratford, it will duck into a tunnel. It will stop at Liverpool Street, but not here, in the underground. All that, however, is still under construction. So here we are after visiting the Cindy Sherman exhibition. We're now at Trafalgar Square. It's currently 33 degrees. So here we are at Covent Garden.
Juggling three! Flaming orange cups! What? Balanced! On the top of a freestanding ladder! Balanced right here in the North Hall Covent Garden! Come on! I'm doing it!
Covent Garden to Chinatown, where we're going to get lunch. It is absolutely roasting. I don't think I've ever been in London in this heat before, ever. And it's only going to get worse as the day goes on. There's a fucking climate emergency, man. At Leicester Square, we met back up with Mum, who dashed off earlier on some important business, and had some lunch in Chinatown. Boop, 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 boop. I can't do it. So here we are outside Madame Tussauds. I've been here since the London trip in 2012, but I'm not going in. No, I'm in Gergő. I've got in. We are going to go find a cafe and sit down somewhere. We have a play later tonight. Funny story, it's called The Play That Goes Wrong. And quite ironically, we originally intended to book it for yesterday, and then I managed to screw up and book it for today. We tried to change it, we didn't succeed, and so we ended up discovering that there is actually a 2300 train back to Manchester, which gets back to Stockport at 1:48. So we're on the very, very last train of the day after the play. It's going to be an interesting evening, no doubt. Hello and welcome back. We are now on Baker Street. We've come to, before we walk over to the theatre, we decided to take a quick detour and go and see 221B Baker Street, famously the home of Sherlock Holmes. It is now the Sherlock Holmes Museum. We went inside once, decided it's probably not worth actually going into the museum, but it's certainly worth going to take a look at it. I say, my dear Gergő, I believe we have found the residency of Sir Sherlock Holmes. Elementary, my dear Gergő. So while we still have a couple of hours until our play, our miniature tour of places of Sherlocky interest continues. We're going to hop on the Metropolitan line, go to Euston Square and see North Gower Street, which is what they used as a stand-in for Baker Street in the BBC, in the modern day BBC Sherlock series. Baker Street is one of the few places on the tube where you actually have kind of National Rail style departure boards, station listings for tube trains. It's very strange. Here we are just around the corner from Euston Square Station on North Gower Street, and it started to rain. I think it was the first time I've ever been happy to come out of the tube and see that it started raining. This is actually really refreshing. And thus our short Sherlock tour comes to an end. We're now going to hop on a bus to get us to our theatre. We're watching The Play That Goes Wrong. And hopefully we won't all sweat to death in the theatre.
Like go all the way over there.
Yeah.
Like the
Nothing beats this view on a bus. Here we are at Leicester Square Station. Bit of deja vu, anybody? And here we are back at Covent Garden. Is anybody starting to feel a little bit of deja vu? Well, that was The Play That Goes Wrong.
Tom Cruise will not be appearing at this performance.
So that was The Play That Goes Wrong in the delightful Duchess Theatre, which was surprisingly cool. It's a very hot day. We'll be now followed by The Train That Goes Wrong, because heat makes rails and overhead wires buckle, and it looks like all the trains back to Manchester are delayed. Well, we have made it back to Euston. The air is cooler. We may still have a little bit of trouble getting back to Manchester. Let's go in and see what's up with the trains. Funnily enough, we were actually benefited by all the train delays, as we were able to board the delayed 2100 rather than having to wait for the 2300, and ended up getting back to Stockport about an hour early. Here we are are back at Stockport at 1:45. I think this is the latest we've ever arrived back from London. There's a Network Rail track recording unit here. Probably out and about due to today's hot weather, making sure there aren't any buckles. Anyway, this is of course where we end the video here at Stockport. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.